Alrighty guys, we're back for some Gruul Modified, and this is a Phyrexia all will be one standard brew. We're going to go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, but first things first, for anyone who may not know, I'm Redcat and I play aggro decks and any decks with red in them as well, so I hope that sounds fun to you. Also, we do got that Discord link down in the description if you're interested in joining that up. Okay, what do we got in the deck here? We got 4 Kumano faces Kakkazan. Nice. We got 4 evolving adaptives. This is a very powerful 1-drop, guys. It's a 1 mana 0/0. Enters the battlefield with an oil counter. It gets +1/+1 for each oil counter. And then, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature has greater power or toughness than Evolving Adaptive, put an oil counter on Evolving Adaptive. This card can be ridiculous and it can get out of hand very fast. We got 4 Shivan Devastators, an X and a red 0/0 flying haste, and it gets X +1/+1 counters when it enters the battlefield. So very powerful, underplayed creature, guys. I feel like it's underplayed right now. The amount of times this will just help you clean up games is a lot, actually. Being able to fly over Obliterator, for example, sounds pretty solid. Got 4 Kami's Flares. Speaking of underplayed, this is an underplayed instant speed card that deals 3 damage to creature or planeswalker, and then it deals an extra 2 damage to the permanent's controller if you control a modified creature, which is going to be very, very often in this one. Got some ramp here between Scrapgorger and Loamspeaker. Now, Scrapgorger is an interesting one where whenever it becomes tapped, exile target card from a graveyard and put an oil counter on Armored Scrapgorger. That's pretty good because if you have 3 or more oil counters on this, it actually gets +3/+0. Yeah, it just becomes a 3/3 all of a sudden. That's awesome, guys, which is pretty sweet because you can even just attack in with this and that counts as tapping it for that bottom ability, which is cool. Filigree Sylex, guys, I've been having a lot of success with Filigree Sylex, and I tested it out in some aggro brews. I remade my hot oil deck with some Filigree Sylex, and actually technically tested out a different version of this Gruul list as well with the Sylex. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. This deck is already leaning a little mid-range already. It's not really, it's definitely considered an aggro deck, I would say, but 2 mana legendary artifact, you can tap it to put an oil counter on it. You can tap it to sacrifice it, destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of oil counters on Filigree Sylex. So another great way to help you clean up Vindicators and Obliterators and a lot of other stuff, guys. Getting this to 3 and taking out some Trespassers is very powerful. Then the bottom ability happens a lot more than you would think. You get to tap it, remove 10 oil counters from among permanents you control, sack it, deals 10 damage to any target. Just been having a lot of success with it. It's got to be one of my favorite new cards from the new set, guys. It's awesome. Okay, enough rambling about the Sylex, We got some 3-drops here. 4 Bloated Contaminators. You guys know it. Very powerful. You've probably seen it a lot, actually, Don't worry too much about the Toxic, but the Proliferate is going to be pretty good in here. Got 3 Migloz Maze Crushers here. This is a 3 mana 4/4. When it enters the battlefield, it gets 5 oil counters, which is a great way to get really close to that bottom ability on the Sylex, Top ability, remove an oil counter, gains Vigilance and Menace. That's good. Second ability here, 2 mana, remove 2 oil counters, gets +2/+2. Nice. Bottom ability, 3 mana, remove 3 oil counters, destroy target artifact or enchantment. These 3-drops are just disgusting, man. What on earth? What on earth? Where is the downside to these cards? Holy cow, We have no 4-drops. Do you have a 5-drop Lukka that can obviously be played as a 4-drop though, So that's pretty cool. So if you do cast it out for its completed thing, then it enters with 2 fewer loyalty counters, of course. Now at the +1 here, you get a red and a green. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells or activate abilities of creatures. Okay. Then you got the -1 here. Get a 3/3 Phyrexian Beast creature token with Toxic 1. That's pretty good. And the -4 here can be absolutely devastating. Lukka deals X damage divided as you choose among any number of target creatures and or planeswalkers, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control as long as you activated this ability, or as you activated this ability, right? So it's going to be pretty easy to do 4 damage divided as you choose, which can really just sweep up a board depending on what you're looking at, right? But it's not unheard of to actually do a lot more than 4 whether you're getting the Shivan Devastator down or buffing up the adaptive with big old Devastators too. It's just not going to be unheard of. Like, obviously, Kumano can give a counter to like your Bloated Contaminator, dealing 5 damage divided as you choose with the Lukka. Yeah, I think Lukka is going to be very powerful. That's why we're rocking 3 of them. Got all the dual lands in here, and I said this during the Rakdos video for the week. I have no idea if this is like what we want. Do we just like pack all the dual lands in? I guess, right? I really don't know. Let me know in the comments. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess packing all the dual lands makes sense. It's a lot of rares though, huh? Got a Monumental Facade in here as well, which is cool. Who Endures, Crucible of Defiance, leaning towards green because the mana base is leaning towards green. And of course, getting to our Scrapgorger and Loamspeaker is going to be very important. No honorable mentions today, but we can use our imagination, huh? Raiju, Kodama, other cards that have modified in it as well. Those could all be pretty cool in here, but this time round didn't make the cut. I'm going for victories today, guys, so we'll see if we can actually pull that off. Let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. Right into that first game again, guys. Let's go. All right, opponent, you bringing some Grixis to the table for me? Great hand. Where do I even begin? Where do I even begin? I suppose it's going to be adaptive over Kumano, and then Loamspeaker. Right? Well, it could be Grixis, and this is probably a Make Disappear, then. Scrapgorger is pretty good. Gonna go Scrapgorger over the Loamspeaker. It lands. Nice, nice. Alright, let's get that swing. See if it dies. Gonna be a Flame Blast Bolt. Okay. This might be some Izzet control. That would be cool. Fable, okay. Okay, yeah, this could be a lot of mana. Let's play everything. Let's get Kumano down. Pick up that Flame Blast. Get the Maze Crusher down. Okay, 1. And then maybe Maze Crusher can pick up the Fable next turn. Unfortunately, they got a lot of use out of this, so it might not be worth hitting. It'll be worth hitting Reflection if they have like a really good card to copy. Let's see, they can play their 4th, ramp up to 5, and they could go like burn down the house at that point. If it's Izzet, they probably have like bounce spells in here as well as burn. This feels like a burn down the house, but honestly, it's been a board wipe that we haven't seen too often. Could be a Flame Blessed Bolt too. This is worth it though. You want to take that out. Oh wow, it was a Brotherhood's End. So we could have taken the 2 and they probably would have just played something else, right? I think so. Oh, more land. That's really bad. That's really, really bad. Probably should have played around and Make Disappear there, guys. I didn't want to play these since we're seeing so much mana, though. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. This is like 4 Shivan Devastators. This is the reason, man. You want those big old chunky Devastators hitting the board. Okay, Crucible. We can play Who Endure. We can use Who Endure. Like, there's just like... They probably even block here, huh? Alright, let's attempt the swing. They keep Reflection. They have good creatures to copy. Who Endures ramps them, which could be really bad for Izzet. I don't want to play the Who Endures. Oh, this cost 4 mana anyways. Alright, Sylex is going to hit the board. We will keep the Who Endures open, and I'm not going to play the Crucible. Okay. So, running into the Brotherhood's End sets us a little bit behind when we were kind of already behind to begin with. So I do wonder. They go for a swing. Sure. Yeah, I'm not going to play a Who Endures on that. Just to not take a little bit of damage here. It'll be worth starting to put oil counters on this, even though it won't hit tokens now. More mana, okay. Oh no. Okay. Let's get that swing. We have Crucible available to surprise block. We could have swung with the Crucible too. Yeah. We probably wanted to swing with the Crucible. They draw 2 on the Scrutiny. Huh. Okay. I've been in so much danger recently with like all the aggro decks and stuff that Crucible has been a defensive card for me for quite some time, and so I wasn't even thinking, yeah, these get haste too, but I'm gonna try to hit that reflection with these. I think it's a good card to remove, and using a Who Endures on it just doesn't make too much sense to me. When we could... Oh, wow, okay, well, I'll hold off on that just in case. Just in case there's a 1-drop that we want to hit. Alright, oil counter. Lukka, nice, terrific draw. Does it land? I'm gonna try to full cast it probably and not worry about a make disappear, because we're in danger, guys. They got 5 cards in their hand. Oh, excuse me. Let's go double green. I guess it doesn't matter. I was making sure I wasn't gonna take any damage over here. No. Okay. Well, I'm glad we kept this in hand, though. I'll keep the Sylex. 6 mana, Brotherhood's End, destroy all artifacts. Aw, man. Have an oil counter, buddy, before your demise. Have an oil counter. Alright, we are out of gas, guys. We are out of gas. We need to stop at a gas station. Lukka was like the best bet, but they just had the negate ready. Who Endures is much better hitting like a full-blown Fable. Yeah, like hitting this before they get to discard and everything. That is much better. Technically we do it now. That way, if we draw like another Lukka, we can still play that next turn. Even though, that, yeah, they get the untapped. Wow, we drew another Lukka too. They only have 2 cards in hand. Terrific draws, man. Double red works as well. No way. No, dissipate. No, opponent, how could you? Oh, the Lukkas were so good, guys. Man, is it control actually doing a lot here? I'm actually pretty happy that we took out the... an Abrade. Oh no, Is It Control's picking us apart too, like they've had an answer for everything so far. No way! They found a negate for the Kumano. This has to be theirs, right? Ooh, yes, we are drawing really well though. No, opponent. Don't you? Oh, no, you did not. Opponent. Oh my goodness. You gotta laugh sometimes, man. That's really funny. Dude, hey, Is It Control? Honestly, it might be in a pretty good position right now. Drop the GGs. That is, in fact, a GG's. Let the devils hit in. Wow, they had a Hall Breaker Horror on top. I don't even know if this is... Where's my other good game? You know what, I'll drop them this one because... dude, I don't know if this deck was running any new cards. Let me double check. What would Izzet control look like if we were packing new cards into it, guys? Yeah, still looks solid, man. Still looks solid. Everything here. I mean, they had an answer for everything. Literally everything. So I guess the best play was early on to not block with the Maze Crusher, right? And I walked right into that Brotherhood's end, and maybe the game would have ended up different had I actually been able to keep that creature on the board. However, they did have Fires of Victory, which can easily take down the Maze Crusher. So, yeah. Haven't seen much control recently, guys, but that one looked terrifying. Oh! I think this is a mulligan. We go first here, too. This is a bad first hand for going first. Some removal's great. I love the Sylex. I love actually having mana here, too, but I need creature. Hey, there's the Devastator. Okay. Good hand, good hand. Probably keep the 3 mana, because we don't have any other ramp. I don't mind sending Kami's Flare and keeping just the creatures, because these can be big old chunky creatures, right? The game needs to have a free mulligan. It's always such a tough decision to know which card to send first. Honestly, the Devastator would probably be the pick. But I'm gonna go Kami's Flare because I'm crazy. And who needs removal, huh? Who needs it? Now, I do just kind of want to see the Devastator get in some damage this game too, so I think this is fine. I think sending a land here is dangerous with how I've been drawing land for the past couple weeks, so yeah, I guess it really depends, doesn't it? Can't go turn 2 Devastator. It wouldn't have buffed the adaptive anyways. We could have used Facade on adaptive. That's a possibility. But keeping the Facade's ability back for mid-game is okay too. Because if we would have used the Facade, they could have just bounced that back to hand with a Fading Hope and we would have ruined it. So I think this is fine too. More mana is fine. I'd rather them counter the Devastator, unfortunately. I'd rather them counter Devastator over the Contaminator. Oh, it's not a counter. Oh, nice. Nice, guys. Great swing for us here. This is going to be some of that Dimir deck, which is pretty scary, but I think we can beat it. It really depends how much they pop off. Sometimes they play creatures, sometimes they just play like planeswalkers and stuff. Keeping 3 mana open. Gotta be real with you guys. Devastator's a terrific draw. I'm going for it. I'm going for it, man. Buffs the adaptive. Then Contaminator buffs the adaptive again. Like, if this can all land, this is terrific. That, luckily, does not get them the Proliferate. Because Devastator was a 4-drop there. Or a 4-mana card. Put us down to 11, and this is where they play, like, Jace and start, like, making these cost... Or making these -3, -0. Keep the 4 mana open. We're playing it out. We do this before combat because it affects combat. And then we will use the Facade now, which I guess we should have used earlier. Could have been a couple extra damage this whole time. Well, not this whole time because Devastator wouldn't have buffed it the first time. Yeah, I think this is fine to do. If they end up bouncing adaptive now or killing it with something, then we still have Devastator, Contaminator on the board. They need a lot of like extra removal here. It's going to be March for 3. Nice. And they're tapped out, so I'm doing this before combat. Just to get it out of the way as soon as possible. I wouldn't do that if they weren't tapped out. Another March would be terrifying. Because that extra life gain while taking cards out is awful for us. Alright, we're gonna need to draw very, very well now. Honestly though, we drew well this whole game. We are one card behind because of the mulligan, but oh no. Oh no, okay, well this is actually a good draw, but anything's a good draw. Anything. That was brutal, man. Brutal. From the counter and then 3 pieces of removal in a row. Woo, buddy. Uphill battles recently, man. Vraska's Fall, sure, sure. We got 4 poison. So this one is not the mid-range version. This one's like the control version, right? Because I haven't seen any of the creatures or the planeswalkers. We don't need to do the Scrapgorger before combat here. We're still going to need to draw beautifully, and the more Devastators, the better. Can we just run 8 Devastators instead of 4? Every Devastator draw sounds good to me, man. I'm not going to use the Facade on the Scrapgorger yet, because we can't get it to a 3/3 next turn anyways. And Scrapgorger's a perfect example as to why to hold back the Facade's ability sometimes. Because if we would have kept the 2, we could have buffed 1 onto Scrapgorger. Next turn, buffed the second one, and then the tap would get it there. But I guess we wouldn't. Yeah, no, the tap would get it there as we swing in with the Scrapgorger. Yeah, that's a perfect example of holding back the Facade. Oh man, the 3rd Vraska's Fall. I guess it's Scrapgorger. I realize that it could be more. Yeah, I've been seeing these decks everywhere, man. These Dimir decks. And technically, I think we could have gotten there, but that's too much spot removal, I would say. I think this is heavily leaning towards the opponent until we see our Devastators or something. Oh no, wow, they took the 2 there too. Before activating the Anoint with Affliction. Vraska hits this table, man. And we are seriously in trouble. However, Devastator. Okay, Scrapgorger, okay. Okay, let's get the Scrapgorger down. They'd probably turn it into a treasure token, which would work. That would work. Yeah, that would totally work. Yeah, Devastator off the top, guys. Come on. 3rd Devastator. Let's see it. Let's see it. Now, this could be a reason to hold Devastator back till the middle of the game, but I don't know, man. I think we had great lines of play. I think we had great swings this like whole time. We might be dead here too. No? Another land. Oh, man. Oh, man. Well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, we could talk about going down a mana for the deck. We could. We totally could. What card do we want to pick out of the grave? Activate the Mirrex. Okay. Yeah, we definitely want to be able to block that. Oh, Scrapgorger's gone. Crap, guys, this is brutal. Alright, let's just take like the March, that's fine. It doesn't really matter now. But you still want to like knock something out of the grave while you can. They drop the GGs. Good game. And then they proliferate. That's right, that's right. Yeah, actually the top ability on Vraska is pretty insane, huh? Yeah, that's a terrific planeswalker, isn't it? In the right build, of course. 24 minutes in, I believe in the deck, guys. I really do. I think this deck is good. So far, it hasn't proven itself. I think it's good though. I think we can get there. I think it has like beautiful draws, man. It has beautiful lines of play. So we go up against a couple decks with a lot of removal. That's all right. we can still get around it. And even if we go up against more decks with more removal, a couple turns of adaptive, no third mana. After flooding out, I think we're going to draw that third mana. Okay, actually Scrapgorger is pretty good, because next turn, if we don't see the third, we have second adaptive and a turn 3 Scrapgorger, which is really, really good. I'm telling you what, man, the deck has just these beautiful lines of play, even if you draw poorly. So, we still have a chance of seeing the third mana here. Oh! Lisa's really bad. That's really, really bad for us. The first strike Death Touch pretty much blocks everything. I was thinking about that Bank Buster, huh? But I think it's better to just get as many things onto the board as possible here. And I think it's going to be Scrapgorger over No, it's going to be Loamspeaker this time. Next turn, we're looking at Contaminator. And the best bet is to -4 the Lukka when it comes time. And so hopefully we draw... Well, that depends, doesn't it? That depends. The -4 on Lukka needs to be able to deal 3 damage. Oh, we have 4 Kami's Flare in here too, so we could draw some removal. So how does... So first strike Death Touch, they can split the damage however they want, and they could destroy enchantment, which would hit Kumano. They could remove counters, which would hit an adaptive. So if we just like block with adaptive, they won't have the option. I think they hit Kumano. Alright, no blocks. This card's terrifying, dude. This card's rough. As a player who likes to play a lot of creatures, this card is rough, man. I don't even know where to begin with first strike Death Touch, except just, yeah, spot removal, which we have, so let's get there. Go for the throat on one of the adaptives. Fourth mana, Lukka hits, but the -4 doesn't hit the Glisa because we don't have big enough creatures. We could go -1. We could go Lukka +1 and play our other Scrapgorger. And then chump. My apologies, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. Because we could go Bloated Contaminator, Scrapgorger. Scrapgorger, Bloated Contaminator, but make sure the adaptive gets buffed pretty well. And then hopefully Lukka hits next turn. That's the best bet, right? Should have tapped the Loamspeaker because, yeah, I was going to say they could react to this by taking out Loamspeaker so we don't get a 3-drop, but no blue mana makes me pretty happy at least. Go for the throat still is a possibility. They probably have 2 to 3 of them. Better swing. Because death is likely here for one of our creatures. They can't power up Bank Buster, so it's not a trade. They take the 4. So my bet would be, okay, so they're going to draw on their turn, remove Contaminator, swing with Lisa. If we don't block, they could take 3 counters off of Evolving Adaptive. If we do block, Adaptive would be our best bet for the Lukka to actually hit the damage to the Sunslayer. This is crazy, man. The way one card has locked us down. Oh my goodness. At any point, though, we could draw the Kami's Flare, which takes care of something like... Ooh. That was okay. Okay. We don't see Riveteer's Charm too often. Wow! They keep it back as a blocker, which is huge for us. They power up Bank Buster here. It don't matter, man. We do this. We do -4. We got to get this Slayer off the board. Because without like removing this, I don't see a terrific way around. It definitely sucks to have to go -4 the Lukka for something like this, but submit 1. 4 damage. Power up Bank Buster. Do they trade? Do you guys think they trade here? Adaptive for Bank Buster? That's a pretty good trade for us. Gotta be real with ya. I think that's a terrific trade. Sure, Adaptive is our biggest creature, but if they draw with Bank Buster, yeah, or they take the 4. And I'm gonna do this on our turn, actually. Although having the haste. Because there might be something where... No. We're fine. I don't think there's anything in their deck that's like, you know, I don't know, something like less to cast based on how many creatures are in their grave or something. Plus, it's only 1 Glisa. If they have like something to target it, then in response we could do the Scrapgorger. Keeping it back, being sure we can protect the Lukka is a key factor here. Again, Shivan Devastator off the top, man. Shivan Devastator. We need 8 of them in this deck. It is such a key card, man. It's such a key player in a deck like this that ramps. Like, we could, plus the Lukka, that's 2 mana. We have a mana here, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we could have an 8/8 Devastator come down, buff the Adaptive. Oh. Wow. Take out the Lukka. That's great for us, man. Let's go ahead and pick up, I don't know, probably the creatures, I would say. Yeah, we got a ton of damage here. Wow. It's a little bit funny. It's a little bit funny, let's be real. Here's where the Facade would be really good, because we would have the damage necessary with the Scrapgorger if we had Facade on the board. So we might want to talk about going up to 2 of those, honestly. It's looking great. Opponent needs a board wipe. And if they find it, man. You know what I mean? I know it can be frustrating when the opponents always have it, but sometimes, like, sometimes you always have it too, right? So, like yesterday's video, we played Go Wide Mono White, which I don't even think we got lucky. I think that was just a good deck, honestly. Which I think that would be a deck, if I ever get a chance to sit down and try to rank up again, which again, I don't like the rank up process at all. I don't like the constant back and forth. But if I did enjoy that process, I'd probably sit down with that Mono White Go Wide, man. That was just kind of insane, honestly. Felt really powerful. More testing required, though, right? Only 5 matches isn't always enough. Yes! Yes! Kami's Flare! Let's do this, buddy. Let's do this! Power up Bank Buster on your turn doesn't do it. We got there, guys. We got there. Yeah, so they didn't see the board wipe. Like, it really needed to be mana, like Burn Down House or something. Like, it really, really needed to be that for them. Because we had 3 creatures, like double spot removal wasn't going to do it, which, you know, sometimes they run Infernal Grasp or something like that too. So we're going to try one more. It'd be awesome to have like a consistent back and forth, you know? There's been a lot of matches recently where the opponents kind of just like, I don't want to, yeah, they kind of like lock up the game. So like I've heard people say Obliterator just does that to the game of Magic in general, like Obliterator just locks everything. Oh my goodness, we go first. The hands have not been great today, guys. I gotta be real with you. I think I don't think it's the deck. I don't. I know, I feel like I've been saying that all week, but I do feel like we're getting a little unlucky. Alright, we'll send the Lukka for the sake of just making sure we have 3 mana. No. I like to play risky, and so I'm going to play risky. We're going to see that mana, guys. Plus we have so much. And I'm not worried about the second stage on Kumano. I'm not doing that on turn 2 because we could draw one of our 4 Loamspeakers or one of our 4 Scrapgorgers. Lukka number 2. Come on, man. Come on, I'm not going to be punished for playing greedy this time. I believe in us. Oh no. Actually, Kumano's pretty great because now when we draw a 3rd mana next turn, then the Contaminator is going to have a counter, which sounds pretty good. Speaking of counters, oh, Kumano lands. A lot of people have been playing Negate and Spell Pierce, probably because of the ridiculous number of Invoke Despairs between Grixis and Mono Black, right? It's just way too much Invoke Despair sometimes, and so being able to just have the Negate or the Spell Pierce available. Yes! Yes! We saw the 3rd mana, guys! They have 3 open. Crap. We're gonna attempt the swing first and see if they just do something to the etching here. Now they want to keep that counter open, huh? Ah! You stay away from my Bloated Contaminator. This poor card never gets to get onto the board. Or stay on the board for that matter, right? Okay, Kumano flips next turn. See a mana off the top. 4-drop Lukka. That's the plan. Now, the top ability on Lukka doesn't work with the Kami's Flare, but look. This is good. It's not going to be a Wandering Emperor. Wow. Evolving Adaptive's pretty good too, actually. Here's what we're going to do, actually, before combat. Just in case that, I don't know, they could drop some kind of surprise on me. Like, it doesn't look like the type of deck that would run like a Resolute Reinforcement. But just in case, huh? We get like a modified creature down, have the Kami's Flare. This could be the type of deck that instant speeds some kind of token. Okay. Alright. I gotta be real with you, it's not looking great. But we could get there. We might get lucky. They might not have a depopulate or something. Yeah, depopulate would be worst case scenario, right? I would say so. I don't think Wandering Emperor is worst case scenario. Not at this stage. I think just removing all 3 of our creatures is worst case. Man, I was just saying we weren't seeing much control, and I'd like to see what everyone's control deck would be. We're seeing it now, man. We're seeing it. Woo, Devastator! Let's go! Let's get that Devastator on the board. Swing on in. Oh, man. And I waited till the end of the last video, but I gotta ask you guys now, just in case you're not going to be around for the final thoughts, right? Let me know in the comments. What is your meta? What is my meta? I have no idea what we're facing half the time. I think it's just Kami. I think it's Kami's Flare. Extra damage is a little better than the Lukka. Because the Lukka probably just eats a counter like Make Disappear. So yeah, no, that's a serious question though, guys. Let me know in the comments, what are you going up against? Because it's been bizarre, to say the least. Okay. I think we hold Kami's Flare open. It's the best bet. If they spend extra mana. Oil counter. Okay. We have 4 poison. trying to keep up with exactly what the opponent's playing. Props to the opponent here. A little bit of a different deck that I haven't seen before. What I would assume is Azorius control, and then the win condition is poison. Because they want to be able to like copy the spells that give poison too and stuff like that, and then copy the spells that say proliferate and stuff too. There's no black mana here, so it's Azorius. So very cool. Very, very cool deck. When they swing with the Spell Dancer, we attempt Kami's Flare. Maybe they spend 3 mana to counter it with like a reject. And then we might be able to get Lukka down. Could be huge for us. Spar's headquarters is probably in here for the cycling. I doubt there's any green in the deck. Three mana counterspell would be best case for us, right? Spending 3 mana, making sure there's no Wandering Emperor when we swing with Devastator next turn. Nothing is pretty good for us too, though. But there's probably something, I would assume. Oh, down to 4. Come on, Devastator off the top. Scrapgorger's good. Alright. We swing. We're doing great. We're getting damage in, but I can... Wow. 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 Opponent might be running out of some luck here. Might be running out of cards. Lukka number 1. We got to try it, because we can plus and then go Scrapgorger. Or we could minus to get a 3/3, but I don't think we want to do that when Depopulate exists here. Wow, they saved the reject for our turn. Very smart opponent, because now they just get some spot removal for Devastator, and they lock us down a little bit for a couple turns, try to get some more poison onto us. Oh! Oh no! Oh, it's a White Sun's Twilight deck. Oh. And now we don't have anything. We can't use like Lukka as like a board wipe to take out all the mites. We're gonna die, guys. We're gonna die. We can go Lukka, then plus and get Scrapgorger down, but what's that gonna do, man? We have a Scrapgorger to block with, they remove it. We could go Lukka -1. These can't block. So if we get... Where did they gain life? Am I crazy? They were at 2, right? I'm missing something. I'm gonna get Scrapgorger down. Maybe not. Oh, you gain X life. I was reading the card wrong, guys. I apologize. So this blocks one of the mites at least, but I'm pretty sure we just lost the game. They can remove this, swing, we go up to 9 poison, then they just play a card from hand to proliferate. You know, I was reading this as I was just overlooking this first sentence here, where you gain X life. That is scary business, dude. They could still proliferate twice easily, or just give us 2 poison counters easily. Wow, that's super scary, man. And I can't believe this is the first time I'm seeing this deck. Have you guys seen this one? Because seriously, this looks... What does this do now? Destroy all other permanents? Oh wow, they're going for it. They're going for it, man. They want that Lukka out of here. I mean, they can play the long game at this point. And we'll keep this back. Oh, it doesn't have haste anyways. I don't know what I'm saying. Devastator would be a good draw, to say the least. I'm telling you what, man. Devastator, huh? It's just such a key card. How many of these games was I just like, come on, Devastator, right? Because at some point, they could run out of removal and stuff, and so Devastator just lands and wraps it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with the Scrapgorger. All right, let's grab probably, I don't even know, though I guess, yeah, White Sun's Twilight. You never know if they have something to recast it out of the grave. Devastator! No! No, not more land. Anything but more land. Unless it's, actually, it could have been pretty good to see that Monumental Facade. Another reason to maybe have two of them in here. Two might be pretty greedy, though. Two might be pretty greedy. Draw with the land, sure. Maybe we keep Scrapgorger for their turn, but they have 6 cards in hand, guys. I don't know how we're going to get there, especially not after they gained the 5 life. We probably had a good chance if they didn't have anything to gain. We'll pick up the prologue. Yeah, this feels like the type of deck that would run like a Leer. Where's that card, huh? No, we're flooding so bad. We're flooded so bad. I don't even think the Scrapgorger gets through. I really don't. We'll grab the experimental. 6 cards in hand. Memory Deluge. They can definitely find spot removal for the Scrapgorger here. Brutal, brutal matches, huh? That's okay. I had fun with this deck overall, and I think that this deck draws, I mean, it should technically draw better than what it is. Let me double check how much mana we have in here, because I don't think I would drop it, but because yeah, we struggle to see the 3rd mana sometimes, but then we flood out other times. Oh, good game, opponent. I was gonna drop him the GGs. I wasn't paying attention. Good game. It was cool seeing a different deck, but that's scary, man. Keep that deck to yourself. Don't tell anyone about that deck. That's scary business, dude. That was brutal. So it was the first to populate too, right? It's like I said, worst case scenario was a depopulate, and they dropped the depopulate. And so keeping a creature back in my hand could have gone a long way, but it also feels pretty weird to do that in a deck like this, right? So didn't get to see Sylex do anything today. Monumental Facade would have been good in a lot of those, but going up to 2 might be pretty greedy, honestly, especially when, I don't know, well, it might not be as greedy as you would think when you have Loamspeaker and the Scrapgorger. Shivan Devastator is way too important. What the heck, man? Like, how many... You get to the middle of the game and you're like, yep, Devastator off the top, that'll do it. But it's very hard to see even when you have all 4 of them. Lukka, they do not want this card on the board. Holy cow, man. Big target on Lukka's back, and that tells you it's perfect here on the top end. Being either a 4-drop or a 5-drop is sweet. 24 total lands seemed like too much sometimes and too little other times, which probably means 24 is about where you want it. And ramping off of Scrapgorger and Loamspeaker is not guaranteed. So if you're sitting there thinking like, that's too much ramp, it's not guaranteed. And if it is too much ramp, that's what Devastator's for, right? You plug all that extra mana into the Devastator, get a nice chunky swing in, buff your adaptive, all that other fun stuff, right? Contaminator has a huge target. We didn't get to see the Maze Crusher too much today, but that's okay overall. Scrapgorger actually had a pretty good target too, didn't it? And we actually struggled getting the 3 oil counters on here when it was out there, which in a lot of those cases was where like the Facade would have been pretty good. But again, you get to that middle game and you actually get to the point where the 3rd oil counter is on the Scrapgorger, and now the opponent just has enough cards to just constantly remove your cards, and so Scrapgorger never actually gets that damage through, but it will at some point, right? And this might, I mean, this is obviously like really good against mono blue. Grabbing stuff out of their grave, making their Djinns a lot weaker is really powerful. I would have loved to see Sylex do a little bit more today. Kami's Flare, definitely worth the 4 of, especially, it depends what you're seeing. I don't know what I'm seeing. I really don't. I have no idea where the meta is. Somebody tell me the meta in the comments, because I don't know. One day it's all aggro, the next day it's all mid-range, the next day it's all control. Then sometimes we just have these like offshoot decks where it's just like, I haven't seen this one. I was saying yesterday, maybe that's a good sign. Maybe that's a sign of a of a healthy meta. I mean, don't quote me on that, because those are still very, like, all the decks are very powerful. Every match you go into is an absolute uphill battle somehow. And so maybe that's not healthy. Maybe everything's just too strong, and then you can't like play around with like other like fun ideas and stuff. That being said, look at this, man. Does this not have just ridiculously powerful cards in here? And we still struggled pretty good. So there might be a different configuration. I know there's a bunch of different ways to actually put Gruul together. There's a bunch of different ways to put Gruul modified together, and something like Raiju might go a long way. But if we had two Raiju, or 2 to 4 Raiju in here, look at those matches today. It wouldn't have done anything, man. We would have got Raiju on the board. It would have died immediately. Would have got countered immediately. Like, Raiju wouldn't have done anything, right? I guess, would Kodama have done anything? Would have helped us thin out the deck a little bit, get the lands out. Would the trample have helped? Not really. See, Kodama isn't like the greatest pick whenever you're rocking all of these extra ramp from Loamspeaker and Scrapgorger. And Devastator, yeah, I would have loved to see more Devastator, but we did draw it today, so that does count for something. I guess giving like the adaptive trample with a Kodama would have been pretty good too, huh? Yeah, either way, guys, I was expecting to get a lot more easier victories, but those were pretty rough games. But I hope you had fun. I still had fun. And if you made it this far into the video, y'all are champions. I super duper appreciate you. I will see y'all in the next video.